Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap podcast from SNXweave, where we give quick weekly recaps of news and important updates from the previous week from the Spartan Council and core contributors, as well as discuss what the Grants Council and ambassadors are up to, so let's get started. The Aspadisk release has finally gone out. This release only included one SIP, but it was an important one, the liquidation of SNX escrow. This means SNX escrow entries are now able to be liquidated in case of forced liquidation. Allowing escrow entries to be liquidated helps to restore the network's C ratio, as the debt shifts to other stakers who acquire the escrowed entries at a discount. Liquidating accounts far under the liquidation ratio allows the protocol to be more resilient and better capitalized in the long run. The rest of the V2 priorities remain the same, and the direct integration SIP is expected to go out next week. The team said it should be sufficient to meet its objective without any additional SIPs for specific integrations. As for V3, it's been deployed on testnet, and the CCs are seeking feedback from the community, so be sure to check out the Synthetics V3 Discord channel for more information and questions. The team is also currently putting together the pieces to get synth teleporters on V3 testnet as well. They're just waiting on a couple of things from Chainlink, as this has been made possible by the CCIP deployment to testnet. Implementation for SIPs 280 and 281 for Perps v2 are both in audit now, and the team is just waiting on a preliminary green light for these since they are dependencies for the rest of the implementation. An internal release of Staking v2 is also expected to happen this week, after which a public release will shortly follow. There was also a SIP presentation after the weekly sync last week, so let's briefly review it. It was SIP 285 for Pith Network Oracles for Synthetics Perps. Presented by Mark and Tomas from Pith, this SIP proposes the integration of Pith Network Oracles with Synthetics Perps v2 contracts. There is a desire in the Synthetics community to have oracles with off-chain prices but with on-chain validity and recency verification. Pith Network is well positioned to fulfill this need and help Synthetics Perps support high-performance UX and more competitive pricing. The oracle's price feeds are designed to be fast, accurate, and reliable, and they update multiple times per second. Each price update is a robust aggregate of multiple data providers reporting prices. Pith Network runs on its own app chain called PithNet and delivers prices to other blockchains via the Wormhole interoperability protocol. Tomas provided a more detailed technical breakdown during the call, and there were several questions after the presentation. Tara asked, how do you verify your data providers are providing accurate data? And the team responded saying data providers must stake tokens and are at risk of getting slashed once the token is launched. Prior to this enforcement mechanism, there was an incident in the early days of the protocol due to a bug affecting the aggregation algorithm. Changes have been made since then to prevent the same exploit. Adam asked whether Pith is consuming prices from on-chain sources for smaller tokens, and the team responded saying only from Serum on Solana. The goal will be to onboard DEX data on whatever chain they're deployed on, and at launch, 100 price feeds will be supported. Adam also asked if the price aggregation is happening on-chain or off-chain, and the team confirmed it's all on-chain, and it's a fully transparent process that can be viewed on the Explorer and Pith website. Everything is open source, so it can also be independently run through audit. Caleb asked how other protocols are making use of the price feeds, and the team confirmed that other protocols are reading prices off-chain and pushing the data on-chain. Tara asked, addressing potentially non-technical users, how would you sell the advantages of integrating Pith? And it really boils down to better UX, with faster trade execution and lower spreads. The final question came from KSET, who was wondering what the highest deviation was during the 24-hour test period covered in the SIP, and the team shared that the highest deviation was still less than 5 basis points. In Grants Council updates, there were some issues identified with the SIP submission site, so the dev is working on fixing them now. New scope can be added to the site after these issues are fixed, so the council is collecting quotes from a few developers for this additional scope. Next, Junwei has finished the Borrow tab and integrated the smart contracts for the Loans UI, and he is beginning work on the Positions page next week. He has even offered some UI improvement suggestions, as being a user gives him unique insight and the ability to efficiently incorporate feedback from the team. The UI should hopefully be live in the next couple of weeks. As for the stats page, the plan is to create a Dune dashboard with all of the accurate data. The current website will display the data from Dune, but there won't be a Grafana dashboard. The dev will be providing an update on this in the next few days. Lastly, the team is still working out the details and eligibility criteria for the NFT Mint whitelist. A Gnosis safe also needs to be set up for the revenue from this initiative. The council is also discussing the possibility of setting aside a few mints, up to 3 per class, to be awarded later as part of incentive programs. In Ambassador Council updates, the team hosted another Spartan Space last week, but this one was a little bit different. Instead of hosting a protocol as their guest, the ambassadors hosted core contributor Fief to talk about Perps v2. Fief has been a core contributor to Synthetics for about a year and a half, and has served on the Spartan Council for about a year. He has a quantitative background with a PhD in biomedical sciences. The ambassadors asked what some of the current constraints are in the beta implementation of Perps. Fief said the most important consideration in Perps protocol design is how to effectively structure risk management. All of the Perps v2 designs are based on lessons learned and data from v1. For example, one of the biggest limitations in Perps v1 was Oracle front-running and the need to adjust fees to disincentivize bad activity. Another change for Perps v2 is ditching the concept of infinite liquidity. It works for very small markets, but only to a certain point. The ultimate goal of Perps v2 is to minimize risk and eliminate front-running. Now, Fief explained these goals are being achieved using novel funding rate and premium discount mechanisms. Fief described it as high-frequency risk management, which creates an immediate opportunity for arbitrageurs to balance risk for LPs, as well as funding rate mechanics to incentivize a balanced market. The more you minimize risk, the more you can scale LPs, and the more capital-efficient Perps markets are for LPs, the more liquid they are for users. All in all, it was a super informative call with Fief, so don't forget to catch the recording and hear more about Perps v2, and topics like scaling with hybrid oracles, what the off-chain system will look like for the upcoming implementation, and some audience questions. And that's it for today's updates. Be sure to check out our weekly recap blog post, share this podcast link, and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear more about from SNXweave. Thanks for listening.